So today we're going to dig into the story behind Y Combinator's new website. And this wasn't just, a fresh coat of paint. It was a complete teardown of how they tell their story. Let's get right into it. So right off the bat, you have to ask the big question. How do you even start to think about redesigning a website for a brand as legendary as Y Combinator? But that leads to an even deeper question, and this was really the core of the whole project. How do you stop just selling a program and start telling a story that actually inspires the next wave of founders? Okay, so to really get what they did, you've got to see what they were working with. Let's take a quick look at the old YC website and really understand why it was time for a major change. So the old site, it worked, but it had zero personality. It honestly felt like a generic B2B software template. You had these really vague headlines like top YC companies. Okay, what does that mean? It didn't back anything up with real numbers, and maybe worst of all, it completely hid the people, the human stories behind all those famous logos. It was all about what YC did, not what the founders achieved. And you don't have to take my word for it. The designer who actually led this project, Everett, said it perfectly. The site was just utilitarian. It was a tool. But YC is this special, inspiring brand, and the website just wasn't doing that story any justice. So what did they do? They threw out the old playbook and went all the way back to the beginning, back to YC's roots. They built the entire redesign around one single, powerful word that's been in YC's DNA from day one. And that word is formidable. Now, this isn't just some buzzword they picked out of a hat. It's the exact word the co-founders, Paul Graham and Jessica Livingston, used to describe those first incredible founders they backed. It's about this rare combination of being brilliant, resilient, and just relentless. It's a character trait, and that became the North Star for the entire project. And that right there became the new mission. The point of the website was no longer to get you to click an apply button. The goal was to make a potential founder land on the page and just dream, to see what was actually possible. Okay, so that's the big idea. But how do you actually turn that into a website? Well, it all boiled down to one thing: putting the founders, the actual people, front and center. And this is just brilliant. They show you the journey. On the one hand, you see these pictures of founders from when they were in their YC batch, looking kind of like anyone else, just starting out. And then right next to it, you see them today, leading these massive world-changing companies. It's such a powerful visual way of saying, this could be you. And what's the result of backing all these formidable people? It's just staggering. Instead of some vague claim, the news site just drops this one, massive number, over $1 trillion. That's the combined value of the companies they've funded. It speaks for itself. And here's a detail that I think is super cool and kind of gutsy. When you go to the What is YC section, that text wasn't rewritten by some marketing team. It's the exact same copy Paul Graham wrote for the original website 15 years ago. It's a huge statement about staying true to your original vision. This next part is so smart. Instead of YC telling you how great they are, they let the founders do it for them. They took all these quotes from recent founders and wove them together. And the really cool part is, as you move your mouse over the words, the founder's face and their company pops up. It makes everything feel so much more real, so much more authentic. And check this out. This is another one of those little details that's just so human. Pretty much all the partners at YC were founders in the program themselves. So to show that, when you hover over their professional headshot, it flips to a picture of them back when they were in their own YC batch. It's such a fun, clever way to say, hey, we get it. We've been there. All right, so the design itself is obviously incredible. But you know what might be even more interesting? How they actually built it. Because their process was totally unconventional, and it really points to a new way of making things. So they started off like anyone else, right, in Figma, making static designs, but they hit a wall fast. They realized these flat pictures couldn't capture the feeling, the interactivity they wanted. So they just stopped using Figma. They jumped straight into writing code, building it live. And here is the real kicker. They used an AI model as a creative partner, a coworker, to help them explore ideas and build faster. And this quote from the designer just says it all. They weren't using AI like a code monkey to just write bits of JavaScript. They were treating it like a junior designer. They'd say, here's the information, show it to me in a creative way. And then they'd see what it came up with. It's a total shift in how you think about these tools. Okay, so let's pull all of this together. After seeing this whole process, what are the big lessons we can walk away with here? What can we actually apply to our own projects? First up, story over sales. Every single time.
Focus on inspiring people, not just on your conversion numbers. Second, make your users the heroes. It's their story. You're just a part of it. Third, honor where you came from. Your history is authentic. Use it. Fourth, make things move, but make sure those animations actually help tell the story. And finally, think of AI as a collaborator, not just a tool. Give it creative problems to solve.
And that really leaves us with one big question for you. Looking at what YC did, how can you stop just describing what your next project does and start telling a really compelling story? A story that gets to the heart of why it even exists in the first place.